more years. All right, everyone, we are ready now to turn to our second action agenda item, and Mr. Johnston is going to introduce Heber Youth regarding a July 9th, no sides, only love day, a day of service and celebration of kindness in Heber Valley. This is a request, Mr. Johnston, for city participation and sponsorship of the event and Main Street banners to promote. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've been privileged the last month to get to know some pretty courageous high school and junior high youth in this valley. And they have requested to come to the city and to share their stories and their ideas and their experiences, some data and information to us as a council regarding what I consider a real and serious issue in our community, namely continual bullying and lack of respect and even verging on intolerance particularly towards many people, but particularly towards LGBT youth in our community. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce a resilient, courageous young man, an outstanding young man, Luke Belknap, who has brought his friends, and he will make the presentation.
Please come forward.
Thank you.
Do you need to plug in for the screen?
Oh, no, I'm just reading.
Okay.
I'm not fancy and I don't know Mayor and City Council, website, is that good?
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks for letting us be here today. My name is Luke Belknap, and I'm part of a coalition of LGBTQ plus youth in Heber Valley. We're here today to request an event of love and inclusion and ask for banners to support that event. As you know, a few years ago, we put out the pride banners on Main Street. This changed so many lives of LGBTQ plus Heber youth, and disappointed and hurt so many when it was taken down. But me, along with countless other LGBTQ teens, felt seen and heard by the public for the first time. We felt like people in the community cared about us and at least recognized we existed. It was so incredibly discouraging to see them taken down and to see people hate the flag so much. I'm sure most of you remember the woman who said she would be just as angry if Nazi swastika flags were put up on Main Street. Everyone claimed they were political propaganda that wasn't in the interest of traditional family values. It is so discouraging to continually be told by everyone in my life, that my life is inherently political. I envy the people my age who can honestly say they don't care about politics, because if I don't have an active voice in this, I fear for my basic rights being taken away. A few years ago, a Supreme Court justice said he wanted to re-vote no on gay marriage. When I read about it, I was 12 years old. The only thing I knew about the Supreme Court was that it was probably important. Seeing people who didn't know anything about me at all hate me hurt so badly. A 6th grader shouldn't have to worry about that. But sadly, all of the LGBTQ plus youth in Heber do. Since then, I've educated myself as much as I could about the current events of the U.S. for fear that my rights could be taken away so quickly and suddenly, while I didn't even have an idea of what was going on. The way that so many people see these issues frustrates me to no end. You're either white or political. You're either straight or political. You're either cisgender or political. My identity is not some part of a political scheme. I don't want my life to be political. I don't want to be an activist, to have to be an activist in this community. I am so sick and tired of my life being molded into something it's not by people who have never met me in my life. LGBTQ plus people everywhere are suffering. The LGBTQ plus people in this room are suffering. I am suffering. Mental health is an epidemic in the US right now, and people reversing laws and legislations that help gay and trans people are making it exceptionally worse. It seems silly, but these pride banners let people who might be struggling with suicidal thoughts know that they are seen and heard. We are not asking for something political. We aren't even asking you to support the LGBTQ plus community. Voting yes on this event and these banners will directly save lives. The religious family values constantly imposed on us teach us to help the most vulnerable among us, and the LGBTQ community is no exception. We are asking for a day a week of love and inclusion for all, and asking for banners to help get this message across. We are requesting an event and a message that is in the public interest, not a public forum, is nonprofit, non-political, and whose primary purpose is providing civic service, entertainment that enriches, and is open to the public. If the pledge we said at the beginning of this meeting is true, we all need to work to truly strive for liberty and justice for all. Lives are in your hands. Thank you.
Jan, please tell us who you are for the record.
Okay, I'm Jan Judd, and I'm here representing my child, Sharon Judd, my youngest. They wanted to be here very badly. They've been so excited to be here and share their thoughts, but they are sick and couldn't be here. So they emailed me their speech, so I'm going to read it for them. In 2019, the Sharp survey recorded the following data. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Farron is in 7th grade, is a student at Tippernovis Middle School, and in 2019, the Sharp survey recorded the following data. During the past 12 months, the student had been picked up on or bullied by a student on school property. 10.5% of heterosexual students stated this to be true, following with 24.2% of gay lesbian students, 24.8% of bisexual students, and 16.3% of questioning students. With the final data of those answers, they concluded that gay, lesbian, and bisexual students are bullied 2.5 times as often as their straight peers. The following question asked about high depressive states. 7.8% of heterosexual students have reported high depressive symptoms, along with 34% of being gay, lesbian, 36.3% being bisexual, and 20.7% who are questioning. They concluded that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and questioning students are 4.5 times as likely to have high depressive symptoms as their straight peers. They then asked how many had seriously considered attempting suicide in the last 12 months. 17.5% reported of being heterosexual, 48.5% reported to be gay or lesbian, 51.1% being bisexual, and 29.8% who were questioning. That is nearly 3 times as likely to seriously consider suicide than their straight peers. And gay, lesbian, 8th graders are nearly 5 times as likely to seriously consider suicide than their straight peers. Adding to those statistics, they recorded how many attempted suicide. 4.8% being heterosexual, 21.7% being gay, lesbian, 22.3% being bisexual, and 11.3% that are questioning. These stats are what were recorded in the U.S. However, we have proof that by living in Utah, these already horrible statistics are significantly higher, and especially the suicide rates. According to the Trevor Project, you are 3 times more likely to commit suicide here if you are LGBT identifying, with 60% of LGBT youth having seriously considered suicide, which is 10% higher than on the country level. Kids are constantly bullied at my school, and especially the ones who attend GSA. We've been called the suicide squad. We've been verbally and sometimes physically assaulted. And people have even surrounded the table we sit at with offensive flags to us. So think of what that does to young kids, and especially to the kids who don't have supportive family and or friends. So I certainly believe that it is to the public interest to have an opportunity to make kids feel just a little more supported, have parents have a little less worry, and help it so kids will have less suicidal thoughts or actions in the future. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among youth from ages 10 to 24, and people among the LGBTQ+ community are at significantly higher risk. According to the Trevor Project, they estimate that more than 1.8 million LGBTQ+ have seriously considered ending their lives in the U.S., and for every 45 seconds, one person attempts suicide. By not doing something about this has the potential to increase those statistics. But by doing something, you can know that simply showing a kid that they're supported, you can save one or many lives. Thank you, Farron Judd.
Good evening, Mayor Franco and Council. I've been before you guys before, but my name is Janessa Judd. To start off my thoughts, I would like to quote Neil L. Anderson's talk from the spring session of the 2022 LDS General Conference. Quote, in February, a headline in the Arizona Republic stated bipartisan bills supported by Latter-day Saints would protect gay and trans Arizonans. We as Latter-day Saints are pleased to be part of the coalition of faith, business, LGBTQ people, and community leaders who have worked together in a spirit of trust and mutual respect. President Russell M. Nelson once thoughtfully asked, cannot boundary lines exist without becoming battle lines? End quote. I was born and raised in Heber City. I grew up with so much love for my community. Just like everyone else, I would run around my neighborhood, throw rocks in the canal behind my house, and play games with my friends. I even have very fond memories of sitting in Mayor Franco's living room with her daughter playing Littlest Pet Shops. However, as I grew older, the community that raised me rejected me. My friends and I spent our middle and high school careers with only each other, as our classmates would call us slurs, throw water bottles at us, and tell us we were better off dead. In my 4 years of high school, I watched many of my friends be admitted to the psychiatric hospital due to suicide attempts, and sat in hopelessness as everyone in my friend group, myself included, struggled with self-harm, severe depression, and suicidal thoughts. I remember so vividly, in the midst of my sorrow, seeing the pride flags hung on Main Street for the first time. I was driving my car, and I immediately pulled over. I sent a photo of the banners to my friends and said maybe they don't hate us. It was a beacon of hope in our lives, a consistent reminder that despite the persecution we have faced, there are still people in our hometown on our side. Imagine how we felt as we had that hope stolen from us. Imagine how it felt to hear people say that being proud of the identity I was born as is the same as being a Nazi. I was told that my identity is something to be debated. The code states that anything that flies on banners cannot be a public forum. Providing an event to address a crisis in our community is not a debate. Those statistics that my little brother Farron found are not an opinion. As someone who works in schools now, I can confidently say that the bullying LGBTQ students face has only gotten worse since I was a student in 2020. Now more than ever does this community need an event that preaches love. I don't want my 13-year-old little brother to feel as helpless as I did. It breaks my heart to watch as all of these children gather. It's to stare at their peers that became statistics because of the cruelty of others. Nobody would debate an event about suicide or bullying prevention, and that is exactly what this event would be. Not just an event for me and other LGBTQ adults together, but a means to build a future where the next generation of Heber City belongs. It is not politics, it is human rights. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right, and tell us your name, please.
Hi, I'm Cosette Kingsley. We ask you to help us put up our banners so the public can feel warm whether they are gay or straight. We want everybody to feel welcome. This whole school year, I have been getting bullied. It's hard. I had dark thoughts. People took pictures of me without my permission. People treated me along with many others wrongly. People will bark and treat us like animals at school. According to Headline.com, 52% of LGBTQ young people enrolled in middle school and high school reported either electronic or in-person bullying in the past year for being gay. The research also found that 29% of LGBTQ students who were bullied had attempted suicide in the past year compared to 12% who were not bullied. At the beginning of the year, when I was in the car, I felt suicidal. As I was using my strategies to help me, I saw a pride flag and it made me feel a lot better and not feel as alone. Now when I'm having dark thoughts, I think of that moment and it helps me a little bit. In the past, we've had the Pride and the Wasatch flags, which represented the support for the community. I understand that there was controversy surrounding those flags and feel like our flags will provide the benefits to show inclusion and support while not instigating controversy like the Pride flags did. We could show that no matter anybody's sexuality, we will always love and support them.
Is there anyone else in this presentation? We have about 5 minutes left. All right, come on up.
Hello, my name is Jay Riggs Lloyd. I'm a 9th grader attending Wasatch High School. I've lived here in Heber my whole life. I love this town for the people in it and the connections I've made. My current issue with the personal climate between us and the city is that the city isn't quite seeing their LGBTQ+ youth and the importance of visibility in our community. Moreover, I'm here to tell you about my experience within our community as a gay teen myself. When I first came out to my parents, it wasn't easy. My parents hadn't had much exposure to others within my community, so adjusting was hard for them. Yet my parents didn't realize I'm just like anyone else. Being gay isn't what they were just raised to believe from TV and the people around them. My parents wanted to show me that they supported me, but they didn't know how. When the Pride flags went up on Main Street, my mom asked if we wanted to go see them. The next day we drove down Main Street. Now even though we didn't talk much, that experience meant a lot to me. Seeing that my mom wanted to show me that she accepted me for who I was and that she loved me no matter what really made me feel visible within my family and heard within my community. But I'm very lucky. Recently, one of my closest friends has had to move away due to constant bullying and harassment they were enduring at school. It sucks that I had to lose one of my closest friends just because they were the target of harassment. Now, while this might be one story, I'm sure there's countless others that are similar, if not the exact same. So I propose that we should get the Pride banners back up, not just for the people here, but for the people that our valley has turned away. As our small town grows into a city, I want to make it a better place for those who live here and the people who will be living here. Thank you.
Is there anyone that's online that was a part of this presentation? You're welcome to come on camera or come off mute. All right, anyone else here that's a part of this presentation? And then Mr. Johnson, I'll turn it back to you. Okay, Mike?
You're good, Tommy.
And tell us your name, please.
My name is Autumn Asante, and I'm an 8th grader at Teledogus Middle School. When I was growing up, I never knew what the LGBTQ+ community was. It was never mentioned in my household or at my school. As I got older, I recognized that the community existed after hearing my classmates talk about it at the charter school. I never heard anyone say anything bad about the LGBTQ+ individuals, so I thought it was something that everyone accepted. I didn't see why people would have a problem with it. I thought people should be allowed to live who they want and express themselves as they please. I came out to my 2 best friends 4 years ago. Shortly after that, I was openly out to everyone in my grade. It didn't affect the way people saw me. When the Pride banners went up in Heber City, at first I didn't recognize how important they were. I didn't see the point of having them when being queer was a normal thing. I mean, it was still nice that queer people were recognized. For 8th grade, I joined Tinker Middle School, and something happened that I never really expected. After the first few days of school, people started to make fun of the way I dressed. I had no idea why, but I didn't think it had anything to do with the fact that I was queer. Eventually, I realized that that was the reason. Most people in my school didn't accept the way. Most people in my school didn't accept people that were even the slightest bit different in any way. I then realized that LGBTQ plus acceptance was very rare all over the United States and really the whole world. That's when I realized how important the banners were. Banners made my friends and I feel recognized and accepted in this lovely town that I call home. I'm hoping that they will be put up again. Thank you.
Mr. Johnston.
Luke, did you want to wrap up?
Oh, you had a couple more kids that wanted to speak.
How many more kids have wrote something? Just raise your hand. 3?
How many more do you have? Three, and I could step.
If you could take 3 minutes or less, I'd really appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Sophia Stevens. I'm a 17-year-old and I'm a junior at Wasatch. I'll keep it brief because I think that my peers have done a great job saying what I'm about to say, but that's because it's a pretty common story. It's no secret that the young queer community in Utah has been much too familiar with death, struggle, and loss. According to the same Sharp survey administered to Utah classrooms, 48%, nearly half of young queer youth in Utah have seriously considered death. And as a young queer kid living in Utah, I do not and will not take this lightly. I'm not saying that these banners will magically solve all our problems, bring the already lost back to life, or miraculously bring everyone on the same page with this kind of thing. But when I was a scared, closeted 15-year-old girl, and I saw those flags waving in a town like this, I was overwhelmed with hope. Sorry, I already got emotional seeing Rick speak earlier. I was like uncontrollably sobbing, but okay, I'm almost done. And in a community as tight-knit and caring for its children as Heber, I believe it's not only our opportunity, but a responsibility and a privilege to take every chance we can to make scared kids feel even a little bit of hope. Thank you so much.
My name is Brooke Testy, and I'm an 8th grader at Timpanogos Middle School. When I came out, I thought the hardest part was over. It was the scariest thing I had ever done, but I realized that it was just the first of many battles I would face growing up as an LGBTQ plus person in Utah. Kids call me and my friends names in the halls, jump away from us when they see us walking by, or just plain avoid us because we're marked as different. In class every day, I listen to kids make jokes surrounding being gay and watch as the teachers do nothing. Some even laugh along. And for some students, it doesn't stop there. They go home and hear their parents make the same jokes. When I was first coming to terms with being queer, I felt like what I was feeling was not a bad thing. But at the same time, I was so confused because what I felt in my head was not being projected in other areas of my life. Kids would say things at school or something would happen at home that made me question the validity of my identity because I did not see queerness represented around me. I didn't even know if it was okay outside of my head. Some people may worry that these banners are indoctrination, but this is not indoctrination. This is advocacy for a group of people who desperately need representation in Heber. And I feel like having these banners will send a message to LGBTQ plus youth that they are okay, that they are valid as human beings, which is what I deeply needed when I was figuring out my identity. For many people in this room, banners on Main Street may not seem like such a big deal, but I disagree. Everyone deserves to be heard, and moreover, everyone deserves to be seen. My friends deserve to be seen. I deserve to be seen. That is what I believe these banners will help do for queer people, for queer youth in Heber City. Hello, my name is Jonah Belknap. I'm a 5th grader at Old Mill Elementary. I'm 11 years old. I like to draw. I also like unicorns and polar bears. I came out last year, and because I came out last year as gay. All of us are different, and we should be loved for it. I feel like whenever I see a pride flag, it makes me feel more accepted and welcome in our community. It makes everyone in the LGBTQ community feel more welcome. I feel like seeing the flags up would make me feel amazing. As a group, we would like to host a public event that gives good entertainment and helpful services like car washes, planting trees at the park, a day of community service, or hosting a concert at the park. We can work with the city council to talk about the best events. Thank you for letting me speak.
Sorry, this one's brief. Oh, my bad. Okay, great. Everyone in this coalition has worked very hard and for quite a long time to ensure that our request adheres to the code necessary to pass something like this. Our ask is up to your code and is so necessary that it passes, especially in this community. This event will help countless LGBTQ youth improve their mental health and save lives. I and every other identifying member in this room has firsthand experience of the extreme homophobia and prejudice that runs rampant in this community. The extreme and impending sense of claustrophobic hate every LGBTQ plus member, every LGBTQ plus person has to go through is bad. I don't know why I didn't finish that sentence. So many people in this community experience self-harm, suicidal thoughts, and even suicidal actions, myself included. Please help these struggling minorities to thrive in this beautiful community. I implore you to please make the right decision. Voting to put the flags up and for this event is voting to save lives. And even one suicidal mind diverted from the idea of suicidal actions is worth it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Larson. I am the founder and CEO of Encircle, which started in Provo 5 years ago. I want to start by saying I hope that we all are recognizing the bravery of the youth who stood here today. I would be very proud if one of them were my child. Why the banners? I just want to clarify, there's nothing about this that is political. These are lives. And every time there's a banner that shows love and inclusion for these kids, what is it saying? It's saying to these kids, you're welcomed here and you're loved here. One of my favorite things about Utah is we do community so well. And it seems like this should be the best place to grow up LGBTQ as a youth. In Heber, over 12% of students at Wasatch High reported being LGBTQ. And those are the kids who would dare report that they are. A nationwide statistic as of February this year said 20% of all Generation Zs are identifying as LGBTQ. Why are they suicidal? We do know that at age 12, most of these kids realize that they're different, that they're a minority. On average, they don't come out until they're 22. That's a decade that they have a secret. What are they hearing in communities, sometimes like ours? What do they hear from their parents, from their church leaders, from their peers? You're not enough, you're not right. It leads to mental health issues that last a lifetime. Every day at Encircle, 50 to 60 youth show up. I will tell you, they are the most kind, brave, loving people I've ever met. Let's give them a chance to thrive. They shouldn't be dealing with suicidality. The only reason why they're down is because of the messages they hear about themselves. I think that, we know science shows kids are born this way. A subset of our population since the beginning of time has been born LGBTQ, and they will be until the end of time. It's up to us to decide, how will we love them? Will they be a part of our community and will they thrive? Or will they have to turn to self-harming behavior and other things because they don't like who they are? I will tell you, we need these kids. We need them to be healthy and thriving, and it starts right here. Encircle has complied with the ordinance. We are a nonprofit, as stated. We are providing a service by opening this home to provide mental health services to the youth and the community to ensure that LGBTQ youth thrive. And we're very grateful that you would be here today to learn more and to help bring people together to be better to one another. Thank you.
Turn the time back over to Mr. Johnston.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate you coming and doing this. I know it's tough. I'll wrap this up. Maybe there'll be some council discussion, and then I am ready to make a motion. People don't care about something until they know about it. And once we know about something, then we start to see more. And once we see things, then we start to care. So I really appreciate hearing your stories. I care, and I want to do something about it. Because just being a hearer of the word is meaningless. We need to be a doer of the word. We need to do things. If I can get a little personal, this has hit me. I have a dear, beautiful nephew who 2 months ago swallowed a whole bottle of Tylenol PM because he loathed himself because of his community and his family. He's 15 years old. To be even more personal, I am propelled forward by my faith in Jesus Christ, by his example and his teachings. And I try my hardest to be a doer of the word. A new commandment I give you, that you love one another. As I have loved you, shall ye love one another. And by this shall men know that ye are my disciples. Heber City can be an example of inclusion and kindness. And we should be an example of inclusion and kindness. We should be leading the way, and we can lead the way. An official day of prayer is a really good thing, Mayor. I support that. But a week of inclusion and kindness and love will even have an even more effect on the kids of our community and the adults in the community, and can change hearts and can change minds and can make a difference. So I hope that this council can understand how we could lead forward with supporting this event, coming up with an event, working together with this coalition, and come up with something that would be good and uplifting for all of this community. And I have a motion, but I'm going to turn it back to the mayor, and maybe there's a discussion up here, and I'll listen to that too. So thank you, council.
Can I ask just some questions? We're seeing the July 9th as their day that they want to put in the park, the car washes, and the service. What is the week time period that you're looking at?
Well, I would think that we could come up with something. I'm not sure there's anything specific, Luke, but I would like to work together and come up with an event. It could be a week, it could be a couple days. Stephanie?
We were hoping that the grand opening of the Circle celebration, the ordinance says an event, and that's why we're pushing to open the Circle home and have a celebration with leaders from the state and beyond to celebrate the youth and the LGBTQ community of Heber and the good things that will be happening in that home and the support for that. My understanding was that according to the ordinance, would suffice for an event, but we'd also talked about other things that the youth could do to serve the community and to engage with people and get to know them.
So, thank you. So I would like to, I don't think we have anything specific right now, but I would like this council to support an event and a message. And that would include day of service, it could include, I heard concert support in the park. I think it should include banners, that we can work together and come up with a banner that's good and acceptable and uplifting. So, yeah, one more thing, quick.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just worried that if this motion is passed, then decision might be to divert attention away from LGBTQ plus people. But I feel that it's important that it specifically focuses on the LGBTQ community. Because, otherwise, what are we here for? If it's, I don't know, like, it needs to be something about pride, I think. But like, I don't know, otherwise I just feel like I wouldn't be willing to put so much work into all of this. Sorry.
Thanks. So I think we could come up with something.
What kind of motion, is that your motion?
Not yet.
Mr. Phillips?
I am close to this topic. My sister Allison Phillips Belknap is who spearheaded the flags in the first place. My brother took his own life a year ago in March. He wasn't LGBTQ, but had severe mental issues. I recently served on the hospital board and working with Encircle and their plans for the building here in the city. And to me, you keep talking about mental health and mental health. There's a major mental health crisis across our community, not just with LGBTQ, but across the entire community. And I'd like to see more emphasis on mental health, because that's a key to this, right? As far as I understand it. Giving a place where the youth can come, feel welcomed, where parents can get instruction, counseling, know how to deal with something that, even with members of my own family identifying as gay or lesbian or queer, that I still don't understand where they're coming from, right? It's very difficult for someone who's straight to understand the growing up in a community like this, or the challenge that brings. And I want to say thank you to each one of you that presented today. And I appreciate Encircle Home here in Heber and the resource they're going to be. I do also support our ordinance, and as I understand it, this would not qualify as being something that we could do, mainly as an open house or as an event to open Encircle, or Encircle's slogan, the "No Sides, Only Love" on Main Street. Because as a council and representing the entire community, the next person to come in and open something may want their banners on Main Street, or, that's a difficult spot we're in. So you have to understand me clearly that I love your community. I'm very touched personally by LGBTQ individuals. But as a member of the council of Heber City and the current ordinance we have, I don't see that allowing for us to do this type of a thing. One other comment, I'd love to see the first Saturday in June every year dedicated as Pride Day in Heber City and a day of service in Heber City. And if that was something you'd be interested in, I'd be willing to make a motion on that tonight. Thank you.
Make your note. All right, any other council discussion? All right, any motions?
I have some good discussion. Scott, I really like that first Saturday in June. Is that something?
Pride Month, right?
Pardon?
That's Pride Month.
Yeah. Is that something we can as a council support as a city?
The city's been trying to, well, I guess me, and being elected recently, I've been trying to get a day of service in Heber City early in the service, summer, early in the spring, to bring the community together, and I'd love to have it incorporated with Pride.
Any other comments?
I want to ask a question. In reading the ordinance, it says eligibility is limited, let's see. Eligible sponsored
Just the
events
banner ordinance.
are those that are nonprofit, which Encircle is a nonprofit. The event we're having will bring at least 1,000 people to the city for entertainment, speeches. the governor's participating, we've invited, I guess that doesn't matter, but that is an event, it is a celebration. I don't see where in the ordinance we do not comply, because we went through it with attorneys line by line and made sure that we did comply. The only thing that is anything LGBTQ is we have a colorful gradient on the banner. You know, I did hear today that, well, maybe we're not going to let other nonprofits because a church might be having a temple and we would have to put up a banner for that if we let it circle. Wouldn't that be beautiful? I mean, would there be anything wrong with that? I don't, could you explain to us possibly why we're not complying with the ordinance as written?
I don't think this is a discussion for right now.
Oh, it is?
Well, I think they're going to vote, and I just wanted to clarify that we have been through this very carefully as the ordinance was reconstructed a few years ago, and tried to meet the ordinance at every level. And we do have a large event occurring, celebrating specifically the LGBTQ people of this valley. And I just would like to put that on the record.
Let me just interject here. Your event is for the July 9th, is that correct? Is that also the open house where you're in circle? So it is that date?
That is the event.
That's the date.
It will be about a 2-hour event the morning of July 9th.
And just so probably everybody knows, we schedule out these banners quite a bit in advance, especially around the 4th of July holiday. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that week of your July 9th being on the Saturday and then the July 4th being on the beginning of the week, right? I'm pretty sure that week's probably already scheduled for 4th of July banners, right?
And
So
we would be happy to move that celebration to whatever day would allow for the pride or those banners to be hung around that event.
Thank you. I don't know that scheduling, right? So I'm not sure, Mark Smedley, you're our city attorney, if you want to come offline, if you want to address. I had thought this was an appeal, but I wasn't sure. Okay, according to the ordinance, there is that ability to appeal to the city council. There you are, Mark. So I thought, could you just give us an update in the procedure of where this proposal has been?
I'll address this way. This is a matter of first impression for me, right? So I would be happy to look over, and when I say first impression, I'm learning about what the activity is. And so I don't want to make an opinion right now shooting from the hip.
Sure.
But what I'd like to do, if listen to what your motion would be, and then if you have questions of me as the city attorney to go through, and then fill the context of where you've looked at it and see if it complies with it.
Let me ask Matt, who should be online. I wasn't sure if this application had come to our city manager.
I don't know where we are in the procedure on it.
So Matt Kennard, you're saying this application came from this group to Matt Brower?
Correct.
And
Mayor,
okay, Matt, go ahead, please, explain the process so far.
Mayor, thank you so much. So I did receive via Public Works an application for a banner placement to July timeline. I have not heard an opinion on that banner request. Councilmember got with me and asked me to work with him on a few ideas. And that's what you're hearing tonight, are those ideas. The banner application I saw, in my opinion, does not meet the city's code. As you know, the code requires that it be a celebration, it be some kind of public event. The banner I saw did not have any specific detail regarding dates, times, things of that nature. It was more open house, so it really doesn't meet the intent of the city's code.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Johnston.
I want to pull this back to why I was asked to put this on the agenda and not by Encircle. And I want to say, Stephanie, Encircle is awesome, and we are blessed to have this house coming here. But to me, this is not about promoting Encircle's grand opening. It's not my intent, because I don't think that's appropriate for the banners. This is about me supporting the GSA, the Luke, and I'm sorry, I don't remember all your names. The kids in our valley who came to me and said, we want to do something too. And I heard them. So council, I'm not asking you to have banners up on July 9th. I support Encircle wholeheartedly, but I don't feel it's, and I think Scott's right, this is not about putting up, and it's a nonprofit and it's non-political, I agree with all that. But we as a council get to decide what goes on our light poles. And so I want to support something different, something bigger. And I do want it to be addressing LGBT youth and pride in a way that's inclusive and kind and loving and comprehensive. So here's what I want to make a motion about. For this council to decide what we are willing to do to promote this message. My motion is that the Heber City Council, the city, sponsor an annual Heber City Week of Inclusion and Kindness, focused particularly on, not exclusively, but for sure on LGBT issues and acceptance. It could be held in June or July. I don't think that matters. We work with these youth, this coalition of youth, to plan this event. They have brought up things before, like a pancake breakfast, promoting kindness, and sponsoring a concert in the park, and a day of service. And we're talking about cookies and giving flowers to people and promoting this message of inclusivity, particularly to LGBT youth. So, and the city would sponsor that, and it would include Main Street banners. But it doesn't mean, it's not going to be an encircle banner. Now, I don't mind if people in this community, and they have a lot of support, and parents, and encircle, if they want to help the youth come up with ideas and put this together. I don't think we have the time to do that. I'm fine with that, but this would be focused on our citizens particularly. So that my motion is that we sponsor and support an event of this nature.
Can I add to that or discuss something?
First of all, is there a second to the motion? And then we'll have the discussion. So is there a second?
I'll second the motion,
Okay,
but I'd like
Mr.
to
Phillips.
discuss some items real quick.
Please go ahead.
I'd like to stick with that first week of June with Saturday being kind of the Cap Day concert in the park, whatever that is, at the end of the week. And allow the banners behind that week. And what if we just stuck with something like #kindness in the LGBTQ colors to be flown that week?
I think that's a great idea, and I support that. What I do support is that we work together as a city and the group to come up with the final ideas. I don't think tonight's the time to hash those out.
Will the city pay for that and also organize it?
Well, we will sponsor it, and you know what? I think we might, if we're going to sponsor it, then we might fund it. And I also am sure that we can find community members to help fund things too. I'm positive about that. Doesn't need to be encircled. In fact, I'd probably prefer it's not. Keep the money for the things that you're doing.
The ordinance should be adjusted though, so that, ordinances are there to interpret them as written. And it feels like a very loose interpretation of an ordinance that we comply with.
It sounds like this is a motion that's not tied to the ordinance. You see what I mean?
No, I'm not tying it. This is not a banner request. This is a request that we sponsor an event, which I request if we're sponsoring an event, we sponsor Soldier Hollow things and all sorts of flags. We honor the veterans. We do cowboy poetry. We sponsor a lot of events, and this is and our ordinance requires us to sponsor either Heber City or the Chamber of Commerce or Wasatch County. Those are the only three entities that can sponsor an event and have flags. We all get that. So that's what I'm saying, Stephanie. It must be our event. Working with the youth to make this a really good event for the message that they're sharing with us and that we need to share with our community.
Okay, Yvonne.
I'm trying to compose myself here. I don't know if I can. First, I want to say to you kids who came forward, thank you for sharing what you're going through.
in my own family, not in this particular setting, but I have seen firsthand what the damage that is done to a child when they are bullied at school. And I can't support that. I can't support that type of behavior from anyone, regardless of what it is that you portray yourself to be or how you feel. In my own family, it wasn't for this particular reason, but it was something that we as a family had to endure and to watch our child and our children put through. And it's an awful feeling as a parent to feel helpless, to not be able to help your child understand that sometimes people are just cruel for no reason, and that they have no right to do that. And we have no right as humanity to do that to one another. And for that reason, while I may not understand this, and I may not, like Scott said, it's something that, many of us do not relate to as far as what you're going through. We can relate to bullying. And with this, and with your thought, I would like to see it more for something like that it's not just for the LGBTQ, but it embraces the community as a whole. It should not be accepted. It should not be allowed in our community, and I think in our schools, it is something that we should not be accepting. Like I said, I've seen my family, I've seen what my children have gone through, and I can't, I feel you, and I wish I did. Sorry, but I feel you on this particular situation. And so, if it requires a sponsoring in that regard, I think it's something that we need to be open to, and I think it's something that needs to embrace not just this community and you brave kids who have come forward, but I think it's something that we need to embrace as a community as a whole, because this shouldn't be accepted. Again, I've seen it in my own family. I've seen things and heard things from my own grandchildren that they have witnessed in their school. And I would love to support something that is all-inclusive, and I think that's something that we really need to discuss and be honest with, and that's all I have to say about it. Thank you. Any other comments? All right, now, I don't think I want to restate your motion, but I tried to write it down here. Do you want to restate it now that you've heard more discussion, or do you want to just go with what you have?
I move that we sponsor as a city an annual Heber City Week of Inclusion and Kindness to be held in June, emphasizing kindness and love and acceptance, particularly for LGBTQ citizens, and that can include others, and that we as a council work with these youth, the youth that have come, to plan and implement this event, which would include service day and include banners on Main Street. And I would think that maybe a couple of us on the council could participate in that planning.
Mr. Phillips, does your second still stand?
My second still stands.
All right, are we ready for a vote? Everybody clear on what we're voting for? Okay, we're going to start on this end, please.
Yes.
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 No. All right, that motion passes 3-1. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm sure we'll have more discussion about how to proceed with that and work with Matt on that too. All right, everyone, thank you.